Hey guys.
My microphone muted the whole time. Okay, yep. Nope, that was me. My microphone was muted like an idiot. Okay, let me start this over. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. Yeah, there's Deb. Who's that handsome man? That's Kyle. I don't know who this guy is. But as I was saying, whenever I was muted, nobody could hear me. My brother from down under, Andrew George, is coming in here. You guys know him as the moderator from the live chat. He's going to be our co host. Say hi to the people.
Hey guys. How's it
And
going?
I can already tell you, I know somebody's going to say Andrew's audio is probably lagged a little bit behind. Listen, we don't have the technology to not have a little bit of lag on some stuff. So let's see who we got in here. We got Scuba Sam's, Schmidhead, Funny Muffler, Mike, 502 Burb, Cole, John of the Jungle, Super Slow, some lady named Deb, my mom, as always. What up, Joseph Moore? Yeah, exactly. We brought a little Mighty Car Mods to America here. And oh, look, he's in the chat room. Perfect. Perfect. Hey, George, what's going on? Kawasai, De La Soul. So, been gone for a couple weeks. Things have been hectic. Things have been crazy. That means I've gotten absolutely nothing done as far as car stuff. I mean, literally nothing done. I've got parts scattered all over the garage for the Typhoon. The heads are coming in tomorrow. We're going to be having a weekend of doing heads install. I got a pair of Vortec heads, all that fun stuff to really open it up. Still can't get a camshaft though. What up, Detuned? So, hey, Jonathan. Well, have you been working on anything lately, Andrew?
Not really, just sounds funny, but the caravan. So because we went away for the Easter long weekend. But yeah, so obviously the wagon and towing that. So not much, but definitely needs a bit of a ABT.
Not, not the Dodge Caravan. I take it. Your camper.
No. Yeah.
Dumb it down for us Americans. What up, Lowbuck? We haven't seen Lowbuck LS in a month of Sundays. How you doing, Randy? And it's just water tonight. And I'm guessing that Andrew's drinking coffee because it's in the morning.
Yeah, greetings from the future. Got me
Exactly.
V8 Super. Got my
Friday
V8 Supercars mug. There we go.
Friday
Bit of a
morning.
Holden on it.
Schmidthead says the O2 extenders got rid of the permanent P420s and P430s in the Cadillac. Got home tonight, checked, no codes, no TTCs found. Now I can turn them off in the tune to be safe. Took 3 trips to work to clear. That's awesome to hear though that it worked. So, Kawisi live from Qatar. I've been to Qatar. It's hot there. Hashtag shorts. You need shorts whenever you're over there. Seems legit. F-150. Hello from Georgia. Well, hello from Australia. Better not be my coffee pot. Your wife's just coming in here to grief you the whole time. So,
I wouldn't expect anything less.
you're right. So I was actually talking to Justin today about the Typhoon, and because I'm so far behind, I think I'm just going to try and get the thing running on the Megasquirt to start, because we're doing heads, which means new intake. Camshaft's not showing up, but we're throwing on a double roller timing chain with the new cover and all that fun stuff. Bigger turbo, exhaust, and a couple other things. Oh, upsized injectors. And I think I'm going to do that and just put the distributor back in and leave it on the distributor for now. Get it running, do a, verify some of the numbers as far as that goes, and then really do a hack job getting that fuel tech in there. What's up, DMC?
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. I think the fuel tech on there.
I'm excited
Definitely.
about it, especially since it'll do the transmission control. Oh, well, you know what? That may not work because I need transmission control, and if I do the transmission install at the same time, I'm going to have to go ahead and go to the fuel. I only have like 5 weeks left to get this crap done.
Uh, decisions.
D2, do you think HP Tuners is going to stop allowing new tunes to be made? Nope, none whatsoever. What you're going to see more and more often, and I think Cobb just did this, is that they've removed any options for dealing with any emission stuff. I don't know that HP Tuners is necessarily going to go that route. There is still some protection for off-road vehicles, so you got to keep that in mind. But you are going to be seeing a lot more stringent requirements on tuning companies out there that actually do tuning to follow the guidelines and not disable that kind of stuff in customer tunes. And that is a CYA thing. It really is.
Yeah, especially international stuff. I mean, I don't know what they would do here, whether they would, you have an international version of the software, because obviously we can kind of touch on that stuff a bit anyway.
Right. We've talked about that whenever I've talked to them a couple of times, and as I said, yeah, exactly. I knew Cobb is the one that was forcing people out to upgrade, and they were removing some of those restrictions in there. But honestly, I think we as a tuning industry need to look at the ways that we can do this while still retaining emissions controls on things like this. And if you look at what's out there as far as like the Cook's Green Cats and things like that, you can make serious amounts of horsepower on a street car while still having cats on there. So there's not as much justification as there was back in the 90s and stuff like that, where everything was such a huge restriction. A lot of the factory stuff flows a lot better. And so we're going to have to just learn how to play ball in this world.
I mean, from what I've been talking about, some of the guys, like even sometimes, so we've got a thing called a 5 gas test for emissions and things like that. And sometimes even stock cars don't even pass that. So, we've still got the ability to tune against that, I guess.
Right. Well, John Jungle, that's the other option. If it gets too bad, may have to go to open source on software. Just stopped emissions in my county outside of St. Louis. What side of St. Louis are you on, Schmidthead? East or west? West. Missouri. You in Missouri? Got a hiccup happening on your car or personally? What up, Jerry? Yeah. My LS Swap 91 Cressida has cats, front and rear O2s, and a fuel tank pressure sensor evap system hooked up to run the monitor. I've not had a chance to run the monitor. That's very interesting, though, Jonathan. Well, up until kind of the very end, the Super Auto still had all that stuff. In fact, it still had evap and fuel tank pressures and all that fun stuff. And ran the factory cats for a long time whenever it was still running like 20 psi of boost before I kicked it over to the long tube headers. When logging, the hiccup happens, the cylinder air mass drops to 0. There's something that causes that, Mike, and I can't remember off the top of my head. And there might be somebody in the chat room that answers that. Tim Ralston, sorry I missed your question up there. When scanning and getting data, what kind of range do you see for SD Airtable, the high-low ranges? Well, it just depends, Tim, on how far out your tune is. A good tune, you could see 3% plus or minus. A bad tune, it could be, I've seen, 1,000, which just means that the wideband's pegged out. And
I guess as long as just make sure that the wideband's coming in with that multiplier or some things like that, and on the AM there's a little bit of math that makes it come back in the right range as well. But
yes.
I mean, it depends what you change as well, right?
Yeah, especially
throw a cam in and
on Lambda or something like that. The math, I don't know if they fixed the math on the Lambda for the AEM, but it used to be a decimal point off, even though it was in Lambda.
Yeah.
What up, DZ? Well, LS, I think that he's on a boosted platform, so he's already got a factory 2 bar, so it's a whatever the E58 is or whatever the heck that one is. I got one of them down here. E67.
Just propping up the desk.
Like, yeah, exactly. Well, I've got
just a couple.
That one I thought was bricked, apparently. What is this one? Well, that's out of a ZR1, so that one's probably what whatever this one is. 98? What is this one? Oh, well, it says right here. 67. I was right. E67. I've got more than that down here, too. I got an E99. Don't ask me why. Unlocked E99, even. Fancy stuff. Yeah, but there is something, going back to Mike's question, there is something that something can get jacked up and cause that spike. I've actually had 2 people this week send me tunes in which the KPA readings were flatlined. One of them was flatlined at 25 KPA, the other one was flatlined at 60 KPA. And, I mean, I just don't know what would cause a flatline map sensor reading unless it was a bad map sensor.
Yeah, hardware.
How's this going to affect the Holly Terminator and Dominator? It won't, because those are race-only devices, DMC. Even though people are using them on street cars, pretty sure whenever you buy it, it says that it's for off-road use only. That's the catch-all, is the off-road use only thing. And until the EPA, that's what the whole. I mean, come on, I'm wearing the PFI Speed, and it's the RPM Act shirt. Go sign the RPM Act if you haven't. Because PFI Speed's over there fighting the RPM Act because of them coming down and trying to crack down on his stuff. But yeah, that off-road only thing, that's what the RPM Act is going to protect, is the off-road stuff for our race cars and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, if you're in here and you have not signed and you live in the United States, unlike some people in here, I always point to the wrong side. Yeah, make sure you go over and sign up for that.
Always.
How important is a case relearn? You mean a misfire relearn, cam relearn, crank relearn? Blah, I can't even talk. After a cam swap, it's good to do. It's good to do, because if you don't do it, you could get some weird misfires that aren't real misfires, and it causes all kinds of funky stuff. Yep. Until we get full modifications for the ECMs for all brands and cues, tune like we do with the E38 standalone will be used on the street. Yep.
We just missed one there from Seems Legit F150. He says, what is a good cruising AFR? And what should the timing be in that range?
Cruising, we're talking about standard 14.7. You want to be burning stoic. You can go a little bit leaner than that if you want to play around, but I still like to command stoic. Timing really depends on load. Your load's going to change. Just keep a nice timing curve in there, but you're going to be based on your RPMs probably around 20 degrees while you're cruising. It's all RPM and load based.
Yeah, I mean, I would possibly even have a look at what the stock timing looks like. Obviously, it depends on the mods, but I definitely know, say for example, mine stock, it probably runs in the almost up to 40 degrees of timing, just cruising along. Certainly helps fuel economy, obviously, but yeah, just weigh it up, I guess.
Exactly. Oh, truck won't let you do it. Have to dig into that. Is it just, George, is it not going into the cam or the crank sync, what's the word I'm looking for? The steps, not starting the actual steps, where it tells you to hold down the gas pedal and all that fun stuff? Mike says when it happens, you can feel it. The timing may spike. Yeah, the timing is going to spike because you're going to go way down low into the timing table. And that's where your DFCO is, and so it really shoots this timing up, and the injectors drop to minimum because it thinks that there's no airflow, and so it's cutting your fuel. And that, you got to be careful about that, Mike. If it's doing that underneath boost, that's a good way to blow a motor up.
Just ask Kyle.
Yes, that's exactly what happened on the Super Auto. Literally what happened.
The piston said no.
Not sure if the air mesh issue can happen when it's an SD tune and the math is zeroed out and it tries to look it up. For some reason, keeps values in math table even if it's not used. Huh. That's interesting, LS tuning. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Says the code's, but there's only thing hooked up is the e-brake. George, you have the, oh man, I can't remember what all needs to be in place on that to do a crank relearn. Park neutral switch, some other stuff like that. Yeah, exactly, ICT. What up, Shane? That's the bad thing, Mike. I've seen this happen before, and I just can never remember what it is whenever we sort it out. There is something wonky in the tune, usually. Okay. The other day, I was watching my timing on the way to work, 32 to 38, as I was driving 70-ish. With that, I got 18 from an LQ4. Okay, yep, sounds good.
Yeah, I think once it's about 37 going along the freeway or something like that, 65 miles an hour. So 1800 RPM maybe, something like that.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to timing while I'm cruising. Come on now. It's all about going fast.
Hey, you do when it's what do we got, like $2 a litre? I don't know what is it, $4 a gallon, or
I can't.
I don't know how you guys price it.
I can't stop at a pump without it costing me over $100 on the truck. So I just close my eyes and squeeze the trigger until it kicks off 20 minutes later.
That's on diesel as well, right? The diesel.
Yeah. Well, diesel's super high right now. Normally diesel's cheaper than gas, but it's actually higher now.
Yeah. It's almost on par with premium. What do we got, like 98 or something like that? So
yeah, but
what do you guys get? 80s.
Yeah. 93s are top end, but we don't do the same octane calculation as you guys. We're RON over MON, and I can't remember what you guys are.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can't remember what ours. What do we got? 91, 95, and 98, pretty much. So, and you can get some servos do the 85 at the pump.
HP Tuner says the code's present. Snap-on says parameters not met. Test starts and fails. All codes are set to not reporting. Listen, I mean, George, if it's not working, it's not working. Just fire the thing up and watch your live misfire counters and see if they're going crazy. It is common to see some misfires. That's totally normal just because the way the calculation works. But if it's jumping up and you're seeing currents get up to like 40 plus, then you got an issue. You're going to have to figure out why you can't get a relearn done. 250 to fill my work truck today. Yeah, exactly. Reach to the holes in the firewall and give the old HEI a twist. Cold start auto wants to die until it gets above 100 degrees. What tables on the E38 affect auto when it's cold? Jonathan, is it... Okay, it could be a couple. That's a good question. You know what? If I open a window up over there, it's going to make it disappear.
That's right. One, at least cover up one of the ugly mugs.
I can put it over here. I don't know. If you disappear, it's not my fault.
No.
No, I put it in the right spot. I managed. I've got 3 monitors here. You'd think I'd figure out what opens up where.
But it's never consistent,
No,
you do it one day and then the next day it pops up with somewhere else. Right?
It does it where it wants to. Well, so cold start, I mean, depending on how long it lasts, I would be inclined to think that was the FA stage 1 versus timetable underneath fuel. Startup airflow, like your cranking airflow, is literally until that thing exceeds 400 RPMs and then it kicks over to that FA stage 1. And that's the one that's actually based off coolant temp. So if you open that up, you can see where you're at. And on the left-hand side, cover it up, Andrew. It didn't like that. Okay, so on the left-hand side, you can see here, this is time after crank. Whenever you hit 400 RPMs, it starts counting down here. Goes down for 30 seconds. This is a multiplier. You can see that once you get up into the warm stuff, it will lean out. Some of them will have a multiple stage 1 and 2 that goes on beyond 30 seconds, so check yours and go from there. That's a good starting spot.
E38, right?
Oh, hell, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I think so. So, because is it a problem? It's not problem cranking, it's just idling, right? So once it kicks over, it's okay?
Right.
So I know that I had to sort of touch on my open loop because in cold weather, it sort of commands it a bit lean, I guess,
Right.
in terms of with the cam and things like that. And then obviously once it comes up to the intake valve temp and things like that, it's fine. But yeah, also there's also some temperature multipliers for the idle airflow, for the base running airflow. There's an ECT multiplier there as well. I guess, yeah, like always, right? It's just a trial and error kind of thing. Work out what works for your setup, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I like that FA table, Jonathan. But as I said, you'll notice whenever the FA table kicks off, because generally you'll see your enrichment and stuff like that. And whenever the FA kicks off, a lot of times, unless you're really cold, you can tell because it's switching over to the standard airflow calculations.
Yes, I mean, Jonathan's just put in here that he says, I got to pedal it for at least 45 seconds. So I'd definitely have a look maybe at the idle airflow as well. If pedaling it resolves, the idle airflow will kind of do that pedal for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the big things is getting into idle airflow. Just try to get that thing dialed in whenever it's warm and you actually have a good stoic value whenever you're idling. You can use that as kind of a baseline to adjust that idle airflow table. Tim Ralston, once we complete the tuning process in honor of ABT, can we simply scan and make continual changes, or do we need to always put an open loop or closed loop specific to map or SD scanning process? No, Tim, what I'll do is, once you get done with it and everything's put back to normal, you're running closed loop, you've got DFCO, all that stuff. I'll pull logs every once in a while and just pay attention to the fuel trims and see how far out they are. They're an indication of how well you're doing. Ideally, whenever we're done with the entire process, our short-term fuel trims should be close to zero, and our long-term fuel trims should be within about 5% plus or minus there. And that's a good indication of a good tune. 3 months later, if you go out there and you run that thing and you see those things skewing out a little bit, could be an issue with your temperature compensation or something like that. At that point in time, it may not be a bad idea to go in there and tweak a couple things. You can tweak while the thing is still in closed loop. So if you're lean from below this RPM and this reading or something like that, you can nudge those up in both the dynamic or the mass airflow and the VE table just a little bit. Clear your fuel trims again, relog them, and see that they're falling in line. Just verify that your fuel trims are doing what they're supposed to do. Whenever you're in closed loop, if your fuel trims, if your narrow bands are not dialed in properly, it will skew your reading off a stoic. You want to make sure when you're warmed up in closed loop with the fuel trims on that it pulls you to 1 lambda or 14.7 based on what you're running. So you're not targeting a wrong AFR. And a lot of times that happens and you need to update the switching voltage, especially on long tube headers.
So what is that, when you say it skews it, what do you mean that in relation to if you had a wideband hooked up?
Literally,
or the average for the fuel trims across the board kind of thing?
What you'll see is that if you get that thing in closed loop and let it warm up and start doing its thing, and the trims stop updating, you'll see it commanding or actually getting an output of like 0.96 or 1.07 on your wideband. And that's because it's correcting to the wrong voltage switching point on the narrow bands. You update that switching point until whenever those fuel trims have settled down that they're dialed into 1. Now, even if your airflow is off on your MAF or your VE, you can see giant numbers in the closed loop fuel trims. Say you can see 12, 13% in the long-term fuel trims, but it's still pulling you back to 1.0. That means your switching voltage is correct. And then your actual base fuel table or airflow tables are off that percentage, and you still need to make adjustments to your tables, if that makes sense. There was also a throttle body torque issue causing a dip in spark at cruising. Felt like a miss. The new torque barrow tables should fix it if you're used to, you can have them. So, new torque barrow tables. Man, LS, you go into some of the most deep inside baseball. There goes Andrew's face again. Torque management engine. Let's just see if this one's got it. Let's do the navigator. And you said on table 12940. Okay, this ECM doesn't have one. Let me find. 67. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. You can't see Andrew. Nobody can see. Okay, here we go. Navigator. $12,940. Why does the E67 not have this?
I've got the E38 up. Let's have a quick look.
Help me out, LS. Well, I've got the beta. I haven't updated this beta in a while. Is this something new? Yeah, this is off. I'm on 411, 464, so. David Saul, I don't know, man. You just have to go over to the Patreon and see if there's any one-on-one spots opening up. If there's none right now, there'll be some that open up at the end of the month. See you, DMC. See you, Jerry, if you're not already gone. Hey, Chris Bryant. 896 while N2LS is getting back to us. 18 ZL1 PE is showing as commanding but not reflecting on wideband. Throttle command is 100 but only 80-ish on TPS. Do I need to work on the torque table? Just have headers and full exhaust? No. 8968, I mean, if it's showing you that it's the commanded AFR or your commanded PE is dropping from, 1 down to 8.85 or 14.7 down to 12 or whatever it is, and it's not reflecting on the wideband, you've got some serious issues going on, because it's telling you that at that point in time that it is commanding the injectors to flow that additional fuel. You should be seeing them there, man. E38 or E67 have been around for a while and have to request them, though. So it's not all OSs have been updated with that. Good to know, N2LS. That may be what it is then. Where'd that go? 12,490. Where'd all those numbers go? There it is. 12,940. Yeah, okay. Probably all the stuff on here I have is not going to be supported. Let's just bring Andrew back so we can see his pretty face.
Must be a different Andrew.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, everybody, it's 8:25. It's about time to wrap this thing up. Time flies, especially whenever we've got our new co-host on here. You guys make sure and go down in the comments and let me know what you think about Andrew co-hosting. And if everybody hates it, we'll just get rid of him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did you mean the rich lean versus airflow for the voltages? Yeah, it's whatever the top one is. What's that one called? Under fuel, oxygen sensors, bank 1, bank 2, rich lean versus airflow. Not the actual numbers, but the tables are the ones that you're wanting to look at. The bank 1, bank 2 tables, and then you'll see voltages in there. Like so.
SECT.
Yeah, so right here, bank 1, bank 2, that's going to be, obviously your driver's side, your passenger side bank. These are the switching voltages. These are millivolts, so it's actually 0.45 if you were to look at the log. 4.5 is generally the default switching voltages on a lot of these. I find if you put long tube headers on here, that starts to go out to about 650 millivolts is a good place to start on those. But once again, as you make adjustments to those, watch how your wideband reads whenever you're in closed loop, and that'll give you an indication whether or not it's reading right. Okay, good questions. A lot of good questions.
That's the multiplier.
It gets added to the torque coefficients tab if you get them. Into LS, I will do some more digging on that, see if I can't find some more information and do some clarification. Is there a vid for that, Schmidt Head? I think that there is somewhere. If there's not, I will do a new one here soon. We're not going to announce it tonight, but we do have a new project car coming in here in the next week or so. And thanks, Fuzzy Moto. I think a lot of you guys will be excited. I know that Andrew and I are, but we will talk about it more later. Hey, Tommy, welcome. Craig, you good with the Gen 5 8-speed transmissions? Man, I'm not good with any transmissions. We're going to get into some more transmission stuff here soon, though, trying to knock down the walls and You know, the part of it is that transmissions are just so subjective to how it feels, you know, for different people. What time is it in Australia? It's got to be what, 8 o'clock, 7:30?
Yeah, so I'm in Western Australia, so it's 8:27 a.m.
Yeah,
on Friday.
you're 12 hours away from me right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. So that's why he's got more energy than me.
It's really hot here. It's daytime. I just had to close the blinds, otherwise it's pretty bright.
Hey, LS,
And
email me that E67 file you're looking at. So, yeah, 12 ahead. Not 12 behind. I'm 12 behind. You're 12 ahead. I'm ready for Friday. But that being said, we're going to wrap it up. It's that time. We will be here next Thursday. I will be. Andrew should be, unless something comes up. You're going to be seeing his face a lot more. Thank you for being willing to come on and help me answer questions and
thanks for having me.
and wrangle these cats. Fuzzy, I'm right there with you. LS, send it over to the info goatropegarage.com. So, thanks everybody for showing up.
Yes, guys.
You guys know the drill, ABT. Always be tuning. We'll talk to you soon.